Kamala Harris has decided who's going to be her vice presidential pick, and y'all got elected at the same time. You South Dakota, him Minnesota. What do we need to know about Walz?
Well, he's a radical.
That is South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, who's been pushing the Republican talking point that Tim Walz is too radical. Radical? I mean, this Kristi Noem, I mean, she's not the VP pick, I mean, for multiple reasons, one of them being that she shot her dog. Back to her thoughts on Tim Walz.
I served with him in Congress for several years, too, and then we both ran as governor at the same time. But it was interesting how different decisions impacted the people in our states differently. You know, if you remember, he shut down his state. He mandated masks and vaccines. He attacked me for hosting the Sturgis motorcycle bike rally. He said he would have absolutely not held it, and he said that this place was spreading COVID and was something that America shouldn't give place to.
This is an outdoor event.
It is an outdoor event, and people, what I love about Sturgis is these people here love their freedom, and they understand that government shouldn't take it away.
Yes, the government shouldn't take away your freedoms. Okay, Kristi, you're supporting a candidate that supports Project 2025. You support Project 2025. It's in all of your platforms that you're secretly, supporting and also openly supporting. Now on to Tim Walz, because he had an incredible response when asked if his policies are too radical.
But you've legalized recreational marijuana, you passed universal background checks on guns, you expanded LGBTQ protections, you implemented tuition-free college for low-income Minnesotans. There's free breakfast and lunch for school kids. Do you think your record is an asset to the ticket, or would it risk fueling Trump's attacks as you being a big government liberal?
What a monster. Kids are eating and having full bellies so they can go learn, and women are making their own healthcare decisions. And we're a top 5 business state, and we also rank in the top 3 of happiness. Look, they're going to label whatever they're going to label. He's going to roll it out, mispronounce names, to try and make the case. The fact of the matter is, where you see the policies that Vice President Harris was a part of making, Democratic governors across the country executed those policies, and quality of life is higher, the economies are better, all of those things. Educational attainment is better. So yeah, my kids are going to eat here, and you're going to have a chance to go to college, and you're going to have an opportunity to live where we're working on reducing carbon emissions. Oh, and by the way, you're going to have personal incomes that are higher, and you're going to have health insurance. So if that's where they want to label me, I'm more than happy to take the label.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That was such a good response by Tim Walz. How did the Democrats get good at messaging? In the last 2 weeks, Democrats shouldn't worry about being called socialist or communist because of their policies, because Republicans are just going to call them socialist and communist anyway.
And you're not going to be allowed. You're all going to be thrown into a communist system. It's a communist system. You're going to be thrown into a system where everybody gets health care.
Republicans are going to call Democrats socialist and communist because they know that their voter base cannot define socialist and communist. They don't know. No one's read theory. What's even better news for Democrats is that even GOP pollsters like Frank Luntz admit that the communism smear tactic isn't working.
Frank, when it comes to the economic plans, we heard the vice president lay out part of her economic agenda today. Donald Trump, at his news conference yesterday, tried to get ahead and cast her as a communist. Take a listen.
Now Kamala is reportedly proposing communist price controls. She wants price controls. It leads to food shortages, rationing, hunger, dramatically more inflation. She's running on the Maduro plan. I think this is a different kind of a race. All we have to do is define our opponent as being a communist or a socialist or somebody that's going to destroy our country.
Frank, I think that's the former president lays it out right there, right? We're trying to define our opponent. They're very clearly trying to define her as a communist. Her policies aren't communist policies, although they are aggressive in terms of how they operate within markets. How do you think that line of attack is landing right now?
It isn't. And it's one of the reasons why Trump has been declining in every survey in just about every state over the last 3 weeks. The public absolutely wants to focus on inflation, on affordability. They absolutely care about prices for food and fuel, housing and healthcare. And they're not asking for an ideological solution. They're asking for a day-to-day solution. What Harris proposed in the last few hours is going to play well with voters, at least initially, because they're looking at their wallets and their pocketbooks and they're saying, I can't afford day-to-day life.
It is kind of funny to me how there is this arrogance that's sort of melting away. You still see it, but it's just not working anymore. The MAGA movement has become incredibly arrogant because they were able to say and do anything they wanted, and it was just accepted by their own people, it was accepted by the party, and everything they did sort of worked for their own base. And that's not the case anymore. It's like the MAGA movement, the Republican Party knows that the MAGA movement is severely damaging, and they really can't do anything at this point. I mean, that ship sailed. So it's pretty funny to me to watch, and this arrogance is on full display. We have Project 2025. They should not have released Project 2025. Why would you release that? Right? Why would you put that on display? They put it on display because they're doing it the way they've done everything else, where they would just openly do something and then gaslight anyone that spoke about it, right? Now they're trying to actively gaslight us and be like, oh, well, we have nothing to do with Project 2025. We had everyone that worked for the Trump administration that was loyal to him, through thick and thin, helped write it. But I mean, it's not like we're going to actually do anything about it. Why would we do that? Why would we write 800, 900 pages? And so it's coming to haunt them. I mean, Kristi Noem, she was actually incredibly well liked within the Republican Party. I've had tons of interviews with, MAGA where they have said, she is like, she's their traditional Republican, she's also, far right and, has their same values and, balance the ticket, blah, blah, blah. And she's a woman, right? I mean, I thought, Trump was going to pick a woman to be his VP. That would have been like slick move. It would have been like, hey, if, we're not anti-women, look, even though we're trying to take away reproductive health care, look, there's a woman here and she's defending it. Carrie Lake, Kristi Noem could have done that perfectly. And they couldn't pick Kristi Noem because she shot her dog. I had to actually read the excerpt because at first I was like, nah, people shoot their dog, when it's sick or, maybe it was like 16 years old or something. It's like, healthy dog. Woo! Yeah. Oh, this election.